Are there any additions or corrections for the April 20th meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We did have one executive session on April the 26th dealing with litigation, personnel, and contract negotiations. At this time, I'd like to recognize my executive assistant, Anne Marie Grill's daughter, Catalia Grill, to read the public comment policy.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach.
Public comment will be accepted in person and through Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used: Teams, Q&A, Facebook, YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by the comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane and to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much. Great job. You actually did that better than your mother. You have to start coming to all of our commissioner meetings. Very good. Is there any public comment on specific agenda items? We have no one in person on the agenda. And looking online, I don't see anybody online either. So we will move right into our agenda. Item 1, authorizing under that Budget Department, adopt a resolution authorizing 2022 appropriations in the amount of $2,021,830 and 2023 transfers in the amount of $92,264 and 2023 appropriations in the amount of $2,095,153 per listing dated April the 21st of 2023. There are 3 items listed on the HR department. Item 1, authorize the appointment of Wayne Brydom to Assistant District Attorney 2 in the District Attorney's Office. Item 2, authorize the promotion of Caitlin Drobick from Human Resources Assistant to Human Resource Generalist in HR. And item 3, authorize the promotion of Cole Dietrich from Office Support 3, Clerk of Courts, to Judicial Coordinator, Court Administration. There are several items listed under the Commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing a letter of support to the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry supporting the Berks County Workforce Development Board's Youth Reentry application for competitive grant funding entitled Berks Youth Reentry Connect to Success. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing Christine Sadler, solicitor, to execute a letter to Promax Properties LLC, exercising the county's option to renew a lease agreement for Magisterial District Court 23-3-05 and associated office space with a renewal term of January 1st of 2024 through December 31st of 2028, subject to the terms and conditions set forth in the addendum to the lease agreement dated July 9th of 2018. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute an agreement between the County of Berks and the Redevelopment Authority of the County of Berks to guarantee repayment to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program of any ineligible expenditures made by the Colebrookdale Railroad Preservation Trust on the event, space, and festival marketplace at the historic Boyertown Yard project in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute an agreement between the County of Berks and the Redevelopment Authority of the County of Berks to guarantee repayment to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program of any ineligible expenditures made by Kids Peace on the Kids Peace Berks campus in Reading, Pennsylvania. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute agreement between the County of Berks and the Redevelopment Authority of the County of Berks to guarantee repayment to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program of any ineligible expenditures made by the Reading Area Community College on the White's Health Pavilion project in Reading, Pennsylvania. Item F, adopt a resolution authorizing Alan Piper, Transportation Planner, to electronically execute Amendment 10 letter of the adjustment to the general reimbursement agreement for federal aid projects between the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation and the County of Berks for the Peach Street Bridge project in Kutztown Borough. The amendment will redistribute the costs in the current estimated project cost exhibit with no changes in the total project cost by increasing/decreasing the cost of the phases within the project as shown in the exhibit agreement. Item 2, motion to authorize execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the contract agenda listing dated April the 24th. There are a total of 19 contracts. There's one with the Berksheim. There are 12 with Children and Youth Services, one with the Department of Emergency Services, 3 with Facilities and Operations, 1 with Information Systems, and 1 with the Public Defender's Office. Item 3, a motion to authorize execution of the payments and electronic transfers is set forth on the Controller's Office voucher listing dated April the 27th of 2023.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? I just want to note there's 3 items on here where the county is guaranteeing payment for any submitted ineligible expenses. This is a grant that comes through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. These have been around for decades, literally. And because of the process that is in place between the entities that manage it, in this case, the Berks County Redevelopment Authority and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, to date, there has never been an ineligible expense that the county had to pay. This is something we go over almost every time these come up. There is little to no risk. I'm not going to say that you can't say there's never risk, but there's little to no risk based on several decades of experience. With that, any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Now, the young people may wonder why we raise our hands and we say yes at the same time. That's something that we began doing when we started to do virtual meetings. So if you look up here on the screen, we are in person. So you're here and you can hear us and you can see us. But some people are watching on Microsoft Teams live event. That link is on our county website. They also might be watching through BCTV's website, or if they have cable television, they might be watching BCTV on cable television. So they may hear us, but they also see us raise our hands. And then we're also broadcasting on Facebook Live and YouTube Live all at the same time. So the same things that you're seeing right here, what you see on the screen, if you see me pointing to the screen, that's what people are seeing on BCTV, Microsoft Teams live event, and Facebook and YouTube Live. So we've been raising our hands and saying yes since we've gone to virtual and in person. Hopefully that helps you understand why we do that. Now we're going to move to reports from our treasurer and controller, and we'll begin with our acting county treasurer, Socrates Georgiadis. Socrates.
Good morning. Good morning. We have an opening balance today of $218,634,682.01. We have a balance to clear of $3,580,000 $350.93, leaving us with a balance of $215,054,331.08. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Socrates. And our county controller, Sandy Graffius, is not with us today, but in her absence, one of her staff is going to give the report. I believe we have Drew Knoll with us today. Drew?
Yep. Good morning.
Good morning.
For the week ending April 27th, we have total accounts payable of $8,676,932.43. We also have a payroll this week of $4,902,505.71 for a cash disbursement total of $13,579,438.14.
Thank you very much, Drew. We'll move now to our Chief Operations Officer. Our Chief Operations Officer is Kevin Barnhart. Maybe you want to explain a little bit to the children what a Chief Operations Officer does and introduce your team.
Sure. Thank you and good morning, kids and your parents and grandparents. My job is Chief Operations Officer along with Larry Medaglia, who is my deputy. We carry out the initiatives of the Board of Commissioners. They are elected and we are appointed by them to work alongside of many of your parents, the department heads. For example, Ann Norton was here, the elections director. We work closely with her. Bob Patrizio, our chief financial officer, and we help them to carry out those goals and missions of their department, help them with any sorts of issues that might confront them. We work and approve their vacation, approve their time and things like that, and work through the budget process. And we're in partnership with the legal team headed by Christine Sadler and the HR director, Jess Weeknecht. So we work as a leadership team along with them each and every day. We get prepared for meetings such as this. We also prepare for executive sessions where things of a sensitive nature are discussed. So we are juggling a lot of balls to make sure that the commissioners can continue to do their job. So we're kind of the behind the scenes. We're the stage crew for the commissioners.
Thank you. Your report.
Sorry. So our executive assistants, who we couldn't do our work without, Jesse Blauser and Brittany Frankowski, work with Larry and I. I also want to introduce Jonathan Heitzman back here in the corner. He's started Monday as our public relations officer. He'll be accompanying you to the forensic lab out at the Ag Center. So he's going to be working and making sure all of this gets put out to social media, on the website and things like that. So we have a great team here and I'm really proud to be working for the county. And who else did I miss? I'm sorry. Carmen Torres is our chief clerk, and she can explain her duties and responsibilities. She keeps us all lined up legally and technically when it comes to meetings like this. So, sorry, I apologize. I didn't have a script, so sometimes
I sprung it on you.
It's like, how did I do without a script?
You did well.
Okay, thank you.
With all this help here, how could you go wrong?
Thank you. Part of my biggest job is to make sure that any agreements, contracts, any legality that the commissioners have to sign, like for example, on today's agenda, you saw there were several agreements. I have to make sure that they're in order and ready for their signature. After the meeting, they will be signing resolutions to kind of issue, and sign all the agreements. And make sure everything for the county, it's in order. Agreements, also the right to know officer. So if anybody wants to have any or seek any records for the county of Berks, they would submit a right to know request, and you can request all kinds of different records throughout the county with the many different departments. And then I will work to make sure that you get those records if they are available to you. So if anybody wants to submit one, you're more than welcome to do so.
And I will add, as chair of the board, it's not uncommon that out of the blue, someone will send me a contract to sign from the Commonwealth, contracts from partnering agencies. I never automatically sign them. I always forward them to Carmen. If she has a question, she's checking with purchasing, checking with legal. But even though I'm the chair of the board, I don't just go ahead and sign things. Carmen, as our clerk, needs to make sure that an authorization, a vote has occurred authorizing me to sign it. And if it hasn't, she will reach out to the parties, making sure everything's in order, and then have it listed on an agenda before it can be signed. So she's a great asset.
The number one rule is do not sign anything without consulting with me.
Yes, agreed. Kevin, anything else on your report?
Unless Larry has anything you'd like to add.
Okay.
I keep him extremely busy, so it's great to have the team that we have. We started together January 9th, so we're still getting, in some respects, our feet wet, but we really appreciate the support of the board and your parents helping us in these roles.
They started January 9th, but Kevin's been here since January of 2008, and Larry a lot longer. What year did you start?
96.
In 1996, so both of them have a lot of experience in county government. With that, we'll move to reports of commissioners, and we'll begin with Commissioner Michael Rivera.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Have a few items here. First of all, want to congratulate Barbara, who's my executive assistant. Yesterday was Admin Assistance Day, so thank you, Barbara, for all the work you do, and Anne Marie and Lynn for the support you have for my colleagues here, as well as Jesse and Brittany as well for being part of the team here. So happy Admin Assistance Day. Second, I want to welcome the kids and the parents here today. Although I know all the kids especially are thoroughly enjoying this meeting and want to stay here for a long time, I do want to let you know that this will not be the highlight of your day. There will be many, many other interesting things that you will be doing throughout your stay here today. But I do want to thank the parents for bringing your kids today to learn about county government. Just kids want to tell you that all of your parents here have an important role. County government serves the over 430,000 residents of Berks County, and they play an important part of that. So you should be proud of the jobs that your mom and dad have here in serving our community. So thank you to you for allowing your parents to serve here through the county of Berks. On another note, I want to thank and recognize Jeff Gregro. He is the Deputy Chief of the Juvenile Probation Office, and he has been with the county for 27 years, and Monday is his last day. And Jeff and the Probation's Office, together with Dan Height, who's back there, have done a great job with our youth in trying to keep them away from the judicial system, seeing what they can do, how they can work with them to keep them out of jail and get them on the right path. So Jeff, thank you for your 27 years of commitment to the county and to the youth of our county as well through the probation office. Another item is on this past Monday, we had the opportunity, all three of us, to attend the Reading Area Community College Honors and Phi Theta Kappa dinner on Monday, where they recognized some amazing students there. There were 2 students there that spoke, and at least I was blown away by what they had to say, how eloquent they are, the message that they brought. They each shared their own story of what they had gone through and how they had gotten from where they were at through adversities, through negative family members, to being able to graduate with honors and moving on to 4-year colleges to finish their studies. So we're real proud of those students at RAC and the work that RAC does in our community. And also RAC was just recently recognized as one of the top finalists nationwide at the annual Bellwether College Consortium in San Antonio, Texas. They were recognized for the work they do at the Schmidt Technology and Training Center and workforce development. So again, this is not statewide, this is nationwide. So one of the top 10 community colleges nationwide is what they were recognized at. So we want to congratulate Dr. Looney and the rest of the staff there at RAC. One other item this week is National Youth Violence Prevention Week. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, each day, about 14 youth are victims of homicide, and nearly 1 in 5 high school students reported being bullied at a school in 2021. This is not acceptable. Bullying should not be accepted by anyone. If your kids are going through bullying, you need to step up and you need to reach out to your school administrators. You need to talk with them. to avoid anything further that may happen. If you are aware that your kids are the bully, you also need to have that conversation with them and let them know that that is not appropriate, that is not acceptable, and that you will not allow that. So please do your part in minimizing and preventing youth violence, something unfortunately we read about on a regular basis, and our Children and Youth Services Department, as well as many others here in our county, are doing their part to reduce that, but in minimizing bullying and youth violence. So I would appreciate the support of everyone. If you see something, say something and don't let it go on. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. Commissioner Sahelnik.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. I want to welcome everyone today. You may not know, but I have a 5-year-old son, and I gave him the option because he's a little bit too young to attend with me to work today. But I said, you know what, we might make a special circumstance. Do you want to come to work with me today? And he said, no, Mom, I'd rather go to school. So he's happily at Berks Nature, but I look forward to including him in the future, just like all of you have come here today. You may not know, but I'm the newest commissioner, and I have for 2 months been learning my new job. And one of the things that I have learned is that it's important to be here in the community and visiting different places. Yesterday was National Pretzel Day, in case you didn't know. So I got to go out to Muhlenberg. Anybody here from Muhlenberg Township? Oh, you see some people. And I went to Unique Snacks. So I got to go and visit and grab some pretzels and enjoy them. But part of our job is also to respond to invitations by our friends, just like us, in other counties around us, or even further in other states. And so last Friday, I had the opportunity to represent Berks County and my fellow colleagues with an invitation by our Congresswoman, Madeleine Dean, who invited us to Montgomery County. So Montgomery County is adjacent to Berks County, and it's very important that we are friends with them and we do things together. And the invitation was to invite a White House advisor who focuses, his name is Mitch Landrieu, and he is focusing on advising on infrastructure to the President of the United States. So I was really proud to be able to represent all of us, even each of you, last Friday to talk about how important it would be for things us to accomplish here in Berks County, like restoring passenger rail service. Commissioner Leinbach is the chair of a tri-county authority that is really working hard towards making this a potential reality. And you might have seen some information recently in our new magazine about that. But if you like trains, and if you think it would be a really great idea to have a train come back through Berks County and be able to take us to great places like Philadelphia, New York City, and Washington, D.C., I want to encourage all of you to keep track, my pun is intended, by going and visiting either our Berks County website, Berks County, or you can go to GoSRPRA.com. So that's Go Schuylkill River Passenger Rail Authority.com, because being able to bring that train back through Berks County means that all of you will have a bright and strong future ahead, and we will see continued community and economic growth here in Berks County, Pennsylvania. So that's some of the cool stuff I get to do. But something that might be a little bit more relevant to you right now is that this week is National Library Week. And I hope all of you support and visit your libraries, as they're a very important community center for all of us. Our director of our Berks County Library System, Amy Rush, had sent us some information, and I want to share that with you because there are some facts here that are really important. With our 23 locations across Berks County, we have circulated over 1.7 million items. Bless you. And we're increasing the number of our digital downloads. And we're launching a new countywide Library of Things collection. We've hosted thousands of programs, anywhere from babies to kids to teens, adults, seniors, and families together. We're removing all overdue fines from traditional library materials. Let me repeat that one. Library fines are going away. That does not mean you do not have to return your materials. It just means that we were able to support you in the use of the library by reducing a barrier, which could be a financial fine. And so I just want to encourage you to continue to invest in your local libraries, and that also means visiting them, talking about them, and doing all the activities there. So make sure that you love your local library as we celebrate National Library Week, April 23rd through 29th. And their tagline this year is, "There's more to the story." And last but not least, probably one of the most important things, as we lined up today before this meeting started, you had the opportunity to experience what voting would be like, right? And so we were all here with our Director of Election Services, and you all got to understand what a voting machine looks like, to have your paper ballot, to even have your stylus to keep our germs away from us. And I'm really glad that you got to experience that. May 1st is an important date. May 1st is the deadline for everybody who's eligible to register to vote in Pennsylvania. So please encourage everyone that you know to be registered. What we really, really need here is to focus on a judge of elections. Okay, so I have a direct message from our Director of Elections, and it's that we are in need of judge of elections and the poll workers they're in charge of the polling locations. There are different precincts specifically that are highlighted. So I want you to listen to these. And if you live in these areas, I want you to consider becoming a judge of elections. Amity Township, Hereford Township, Center Township, Reading, the city of Reading where I live, the 2nd Ward, 1st Precinct, and also the Berks Latino Workforce Development, and also New Morgan boroughs. So if you live in Berks County and you are a registered voter and you would consider becoming or learning more about being a judge of elections, please contact us. We also have a need for other members of the poll worker team that are scattered throughout the county. So this could include multiple openings in Amity, Colebrookdale, Exeter, Hereford, and New Morgan borough. So this is a call to action to all of you here in Berks County. Anyone interested in working or looking for additional information can contact the Department of Election Services either at 610-478-6490, or you can send an email directly to poll workers, that's POLLWORKERS, at countyofberks.com. So thank you very much for coming today and tuning in. You can tune in every week to our meetings. So I look forward to your engaged civic responsibilities.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Sahelnick. Several items. I also want to recognize Jonathan Heinzman. Welcome on board as our new public relations officer. I also want to recognize Stephanie Weaver, who served in that position for some time and is now moved on as the deputy director of our elections department, but is ready and available to assist Jonathan as he onboards. This is his first week. First day, I believe, was this past Monday. Also, I want to recognize my executive assistant, Anne Marie Grill, for Administrative Assistance Day, and as noted, all of the executive assistants on the commissioners team, the COO team, and really throughout the county. A lot of times people see us and the work that really is getting done on a day-to-day basis is being done by our executive assistants. We may be out visible in the community. They're back doing the work and getting it accomplished very, very well. I also want to recognize my granddaughter, Gracie Lee Pruitt. You can stand up and wave to everybody. She didn't like that idea. So, and do you want to recognize your daughter?
I do. I want to recognize my daughter. She led the Pledge of Allegiance. Adriana, do you want to stand up and say hi? Okay.
There we go. I also want to note, as you look at your parents or grandparents and they work here, they are the people that day in and day out make Berks County government what it is. Whatever department that they're in. There are roughly almost 1,900 employees in total, full-time and part-time. And they're the people that do the work. You see us sitting up here, the county wouldn't function if it was just the three of us. I absolutely guarantee it wouldn't. It functions because of the hard work that your moms and dads, grandparents, maybe aunt and uncle do. They take the time to come in and fulfill their responsibilities in their department. And hopefully today you get a little bit of an idea of not just what county government is about, but you get a little bit of an idea of what your parents or grandparents are doing on a daily basis. So we're really glad to have you. I want to highlight one item. There are a number of these out on the chairs. This is called Berks First. It's a brand new magazine. There's a lot of information in it, but I'm going to highlight just a couple of articles. You just heard from Commissioner Sahelnick. She's a brand new commissioner. There's an article, and there's a picture of Commissioner Sahelnick, her husband, and their son. Great article about her background and experience. There are also articles on a number of other areas. We have an article here on the libraries. There are libraries in the library system all across Berks County. Now, those libraries are not operated by the county of Berks. They are supported. So the transfer of books and materials between those libraries occurs through the Berks County library system. And a number of the technology components that tie those libraries together. So that's how we're involved. And there's a good article talking about a lot of the things that you can find in your local library. There's another great article on our Parks and Rec department. And not only does it tell you about Parks and Rec, but there are calendars about events that are coming up. This coming Saturday is opening day at the Berks County Heritage Center, and you can read about it. You can read about events all through the month of May. There's an article about a parade that you may want your parents to take you to. It's the oldest Armed Forces Day parade in the entire United States, and it's right here in Berks County, in Wyomissing and West Reading, and it's the 75th anniversary of the Armed Forces Day parade. You can find all the information about it in that publication. And then the last thing that I want to highlight is in the very back section, there's a short section that's in Spanish, and for people that want Spanish, they can scan the codes on the front and go to the online version. This entire magazine is online in English and in Spanish. The last thing you might want to know is, what did it cost the county to do this publication? It costs us the postage to mail it. The local company that runs this is Hoffman Publishing, and they are able to make enough money on the advertising to pay to design it, print it, and then we pay for the postage. It will come out 3 times a year. Stephanie Weaver, raise your hand again, wrote most, if not all, I think you wrote all the feature articles. And this is going to become Jonathan Heinzman's, one of his major projects. And what it's about is getting information about county government out into the community. We used to have a very large distribution of the Reading Eagle. When I took office, it was between 80 and 90,000 distribution. Today, it doesn't reach 20,000. And as a result, over the last several years, people have said to us, when did you talk about this? What was in the newspaper? I don't read the newspaper. I don't get the newspaper. So that's what this is about. If you want a copy and you didn't get one, just let one of our, where are they? They're out on the table, so you can take one with you. I know they put a lot of them out. Any comments from our row officers? Hearing none, we have, and just check, if you can check online, we have one in-person public comment. So what we do with public comment, if you heard at the very, if people have comments on specific agenda items, we allow those comments at the beginning of the meeting before we actually vote on an agenda item. If their comments are general, they have to be related to county government. They can't be about just anything. Then we allow for that at the end of the meeting. There's a 3-minute time limit. My executive assistant keeps a timer for the time limit, and that's how we do public comment. People who aren't here in person can type their comments in either on Microsoft Teams Q&A, Facebook, YouTube, and we read those comments if they comment in that fashion. So we have one comment in person, and that is from Maria Bogdanova from Oli. If you can step up to the microphone, 3 minutes, please.
Good morning. Maria Bogdanova Pfeiffer, Oli Township. Welcome to your day, parents at work. And I'm glad that you had election services, because this is exactly what I want to talk about. You know that commissioners are in charge of elections, except for the year when they run for re-election. The concern that has been circling around is with using electronics. And you know, they're good when they work, but they're really not good when they don't work. And we had the problems with signature verification on the poll books. So just imagine you have somebody got a hold of your check, put the signature on it, cashed it. I don't think that would be good, because the signature was not verified, was not close enough to yours. The other problem in 2022 election was the voter switching. It's not that every vote gets switched. It's so many, like maybe hundreds or thousands. If you are on a life support or a pacemaker, if the pacemaker decides every 100 beats, I'm going to skip it, or the equipment that used in surgery or your life support, I don't think that will be good. So election services and elections is the lifeline and life support for this country. This is what determines who is going to be in power, who is going to be in charge, and whether or not you're going to still keep this country the way you want to run it. My concern was with recent testing of those machines. If anybody knows anything about testing, just sending a handful of ballots through the machine is not the proper testing. You can't rely on it, because it's a very small sample. When you want to submit something to testing, it has to be very rigorous and very detailed. And you can't rely on something that's very limited. Just like I said, if it's your life support, you don't want it to be tested just 10 times. You want it to be tested very thoroughly, very rigorously. And knowing that machines have been having problems since the inception, since they've been started using, that's concerning to me. I'm going to quickly switch the subject to bullying, because this is near and dear to my heart as well. I absolutely hate bullies, always fought them when I was younger. I didn't care whether or not I was popular or not in school. Doing what is right was my calling. I stood up for kids that were bullied, and therefore I wasn't popular in school. But I didn't really care. For parents, social media is absolutely haunting down your children. Be very diligent checking their social media, because this is where the most bullying occurs. And young children, don't be hesitant to report. If you see somebody is mistreating another kid in your class, in your daycare, anywhere you are, just make sure you tell the adult. And the other thing for the parents and teachers, please make sure when you are the first line defense for the children. If you see that something is not right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
There are no comments online, so we are going to open it up to any of the children that are here, young people. If you have a question, now's the time.
Commissioner Lineback, before we
sorry. Christine Sadler has someone she wants to introduce.
Yes, so before we start with question and answer, I would like to introduce my honorary county solicitor for the meeting today. This is Violet Paris, the daughter of David Paris in my office. My children are too old to come today, so I had to borrow one. So welcome, Violet.
And so David, raise your hand. He works in the solicitor's office. And do you have more than one child here? Very good. Thank you. I was told and I still forgot. Questions? Oh, come on. They want to vote. Go ahead. So here's the thing. Come up to the microphone because people that are watching can't hear you. So Stephanie Weaver will bring the microphone to you.
Do you guys have any days off?
Do we have days off? That's an interesting question. Elected officials aren't bound by, we don't get specific vacation days. There are holidays, but what you find when you're an elected official, a lot of holidays, people want you to be at a certain event. So for instance, Memorial Day is coming up. I'm going to be at one event on Monday on Memorial Day, and I will be in Wyomissing and actually Fleetwood Parade on Monday, Memorial Day, and Saturday at Wyomissing's parade. You have events often every evening. Last night, I was down at the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce annual dinner, didn't get home to almost 10 o'clock at night. So there's not a normal day, and you don't take normal time off. You can. The reality is you can get elected and not show up for work. If you want to do that, you're not going to get reelected, and people are going to get pretty upset pretty fast if you're not showing up for work. But we don't have the same vacation days. We don't get vacation days per se. And holidays, we're often working. Veterans Day, almost every Veterans Day, I'm at a luncheon at a program up at Reading City Park, Veterans Grove. Do you want to jump in, answer some of those?
I'm going to say also many weekends there's events. This Saturday there's I think 2 or 3 events going on, Sundays as well. So we keep pretty busy. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for the question.
Other questions? Yes. And if you just wait to bring the mic, give us your name and tell us your parents' name as well, what department they're in, if you know.
My name's Noah and Elizabeth.
Domestic relations.
Okay.
Then we have to go back to him as well because we didn't get his.
So what's your question?
How many meetings do you guys have weekly?
Very good question.
1 million.
That was our solicitor, and she just told us.
No.
Who was that? 1 million. Not quite. So in a week, here are what I would consider the regular meetings. Every Tuesday, we have an operations meeting. That starts at 9:30. It can go as late as noon. It normally doesn't go that long. Every Wednesday afternoon, we set aside for an executive session. Executive sessions have to do with topics that legally should not be discussed in public. It might deal with a personnel issue. It might deal with litigation. Litigation is a lawsuit might deal with security of the building. We don't want to have a discussion about how we're securing and protecting our buildings in a public setting. So every Wednesday, we normally have an executive session. Executive sessions, though, can often occur other days during the week. Every Thursday at 10 o'clock, we have a commissioners meeting. There are other meetings that we have that tend to be monthly. We have a monthly retirement board meeting. We have a monthly prison board meeting. Generally, we have it scheduled every month, but salary board ends up being a handful of times a year. That's normally on a Thursday morning. We have a records improvement meeting every single month. What else am I forgetting? Airport Authority meeting twice a month. There's an elections board meeting that can occur every Thursday in the real busy times. But here's one thing that's interesting. Commissioner Rivera and myself, we're running for re-election. So in the year that we're running for re-election, we cannot serve on the elections board. We don't oversee elections when we're running. That makes sense. We have to act as anyone else would. Commissioner Sahelnik is not running for commissioner, so she sits, and I believe you chair.
I do.
And she chairs the election board meeting. But there are a lot of meetings planned and probably just as many unplanned meetings that end up occurring during the week. So there's a lot going on. Very good question.
And
Yes.
His name.
I'm Brayden Holloway. She is Lauren Holloway, and she works in the adult probation offices.
Very good. We know her. Other questions? We're not that scary. Come on. Question?
There's one.
Right here.
My name's Dominic, and my dad is Nicholas Volo, and he works with the adult you face.
Somebody else want to jump in on this one first? What challenges do you face?
Think about that.
I'll go ahead and answer one of the biggest things that I've seen, and I'm in my 16th year, I don't like how nasty politics has become. If we are to survive as a country, when we disagree with someone else, we need to be able to talk. We need to be able to have a conversation. When you're screaming at each other, and we don't do that, you're looking at a group of people here where we represent both the Republican and Democratic Party. Most people don't even know who's a Republican, who's a Democrat. Many people, though, today are so arrogant. They don't want to hear what anybody else has to say. And that is not good for our country. That's how civil wars occur, when people won't talk to each other. We need an environment where people who have honest disagreements, one entity sees an issue from this perspective and they believe this is the way it needs to be addressed. Another person sees it from a completely different viewpoint. That's the system of government. But what is also part of the government is talking, working it out. That's how we're set up. We have freedom of speech. That is what I find most difficult, the politics that comes in to government. It's much more serious at the state level and the federal level, but I will tell you it's coming into local government as well. And we need to be respectful. We don't have to agree with everybody. I'm not suggesting that because you disagree with someone else, you should give up what you believe in and just go along to make everybody happy. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about knowing what you believe, why you believe it, being willing to listen to what somebody else has to say, and also being able to articulate, to explain why you believe what you believe. So to me, that's the biggest challenge, because so much of what we do has gotten very political in its nature, and it doesn't need to be that way. Anyone else want to weigh in?
Sure. Just briefly, if you've ever had a to-do list, I'm a list person and I love to make lists, and I love even more to check off what I've accomplished. And for me, what I found just in the short time that I'm here is that the to-do list from my job is very long. There's many people who work within the county system. There are many amazing projects that are happening. There are many, many amazing constituents who want to share what they're doing, their stories, their troubles, their interests. And it becomes very challenging to move through that to-do list and check off all the boxes. So I think for me, one of the challenges is that there's more work to be done than we could ever have even imagined or accomplished, but we do our best and we start methodically, at least that's my approach. And I prioritize and I say, okay, these are my set meetings that I have to do. And then these are additional meetings that I can have. And there are other events that I can go into my community. And at the end of the day, instead of thinking about what I didn't accomplish, I end every evening thinking about what I did accomplish and all the people that I got to meet and all the things I got to do.
Great point.
Mine I have written down as well. It's the same. I agree with both of them. I had written down what Commissioner Sahelnik had, and it's getting everything done. I mean, with everything that you need to do, you start your day with a plan. I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. And then you walk in and your day turns around completely. And what were you going to do? A, B, C, and D. You end up needing to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So trying to get everything done, that's a big challenge, and work-life balance as well. That for me has been a challenge. I'll just take this week. On Monday, we had an event. On Tuesday, I had 3 events. Last night, I had an event. Tonight, there are 2 events. Tomorrow, there are 2 events. And over the weekend, I have 3 events on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. So sometimes that work-life balance gets to be a little bit challenging as well.
So one other thing, many people will contact all of our offices and say, I would like to meet with the commissioner. One, there's not enough time in the day to meet with everybody that would like to meet. 2, I would say most of the time it really isn't necessary. And it took me some time to learn this lesson. When I first started, I was saying, yes, I'll meet. And my executive assistant at the time finally said to me, you can't keep this up. You can't meet with everybody. We've got to figure this out. And so what we did, we asked people to email us the details. And many, many times I'm able to take care of an issue immediately. I look at the information and say, okay, I need help from the Area Agency on Aging. I need help from the Parks Department. And I can get this answer to this person right now, instead of saying to them, we can meet in 3 weeks. And they drive in and they park. I was able to take care of it right away. The second thing that I do is do a phone call. Again, a lot of times a phone call, it's not the same as face-to-face, but we can get the issue resolved much more quickly. And when necessary, I do meet in person, but that's one of the things you learn to better utilize, not just my time. People feel like if they want the commissioner's help, they've got to meet them. And that's not true. We're here to serve in any way we can. And a lot of times the person with the answer is going to be another department. And if we know what you're looking for, we can make that connection happen right away and get you the information or the answer that you need. One last thing I will tell you, how many times have you asked your parents for something and they gave you the wrong answer? And what did you say? Mom, Dad, you're not listening. Well, no. And I learned this from Commissioner Rivera. It's not that your parents aren't listening. It's that they gave you an answer that you didn't want to hear. And you're hoping if you keep asking the question, they'll change their mind and give in. We have people that do that with us as well. And they'll contact my office and I'll tell them, no, the county is not involved in that. We cannot help you. And they'll tell somebody, I contacted Commissioner Leinbach and he didn't listen to me. Well, I did. The other thing that happens, we often have people contact all 3 commissioners about the same issue, hoping one of us will say yes. It's kind of like if you have mom and dad, you ask dad and dad says no, or dad says go ask your mom. But we deal with that as well in government.
Yeah. And one thing to add to that is a lot of the times people want to speak with us, like you were saying, but in reality, it's our executive assistants that have the answer and can get the things done. So I recall many times people have called in, my executive assistant, no, I want to talk with Commissioner Rivera. I'm like, okay, so they talk to me. I said, okay, great, Barbara here will be able to help you out and get that done for you. So transfer them back to Barbara, and she helps them out, gets what they need done. Then after that, they call and speak with her directly because they know that she's the one that's going to get it done for them. So again, we rely heavily on our team to help us out.
Go ahead.
So on that note, I'm going to, because I didn't acknowledge it in my comments, just ask for all of our executive assistants to stand up for a moment, please. And I'd like to have everybody support and congratulate them in all the hard work they do with the round of applause.
And I think we should have Carmen's.
Because as you've heard, they're the ones that get all the work done.
And Carmen is not an executive assistant. Her title is chief clerk and right to know officer, but she is kind of like the super executive assistant for the Board of Commissioners. These meetings, she's taking the notes, she prepares the minutes. She does an awful lot for this board, and we appreciate it. I know that you have something else on your agenda, at least it's popping up on mine. No, that got canceled. So do we have? So we're gonna, how many of you didn't get to finish voting? Okay, we're gonna bring our voting team here. We have Ann Norton and Stephanie Weaver still here. Yeah, there she is in the back. Ann Norton is our director of elections. Stephanie Weaver is our deputy director.
Jeff Reicher's here.
Who? Jeff?
Reicher's here.
Jeff Reicher, there he is. So before we end, we need to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
The meeting stands adjourned. Hey, Gracie.